Hey everybody, welcome to tonight's Q&A with Niecy Nash. In addition to the great work we've just seen her do on the HBO comedy Getting On, she also stars in the TV Land sitcom The Soul Man, opposite Cedric the Entertainer. Very funny show. She also recently appeared in the motion picture Selma. She first sort of came to fame on the improvised comedy Reno 911. She has already won a couple of daytime Emmys for hosting Clean House on the Style Network. And she's guested on numerous dramas and comedies, and she recently even got to kiss Mindy Kaling when she guested on The Mindy Project. So what is next but to win a Primetime Emmy? So let's welcome Emmy nominee for Outstanding Supporting Actress in a Comedy Series, the amazing Niecy Nash.
Hello. Hi.
Your sister's here tonight. You've got some friendly folks out here.
Yes, I do. Hi, folks.
Well, I just want to start. I think we all want to know where you were and how you felt when you heard that you got this Emmy nomination.
Where I was and how I felt. I was actually on set at Getting On, working very early. I had a very early call time. We were doing a scene, and I'm actually, if you follow the show, you'll get to meet my family this season. So my TV husband, my sister-in-law, my brother-in-law, all the black people. Huh? Come on, was in Mount Pounds Hospital. And we did a scene a couple times, and then I said, Mother needs a coffee. I went to go get a cup of coffee, and I came back, and one of the PAs said, congratulations, Miss Niecy. And I said, congratulations on what? He said, I don't know. Somebody announced on the walkie that you won something. I said, what did I win? And then I looked up, and then I saw our writers coming towards me smiling. And I was like, what happened? And they were like, ladies and gentlemen, Miss Niecy Nash was nominated for an Emmy. And I cried like a baby. I wept from my soul. And okay, wait, y'all ain't gonna make me cry right now. Wait a minute. Blink back. Because I didn't bring no eyelash glue. Sister, you got eyelash glue? And so I cried, and I was trembling, and I posted it on my social media, because in that moment, the first thing I thought, my mama's not here, my sister's not here, where is everybody? And so I videoed just a little snip of it, and I was shaking, so I put my hands on my knees to try to steady myself, because those of you who are believers know that I wanted to run around that ward and praise God. And I was so overwhelmed. And the people came to me and they said, Niecy, we understand. Can I get a Kleenex? They came to me and said, Niecy, we understand that you're having a moment, but we got to make the day. We're going to need you to pull up and get right back in there on that set. And that was how I found out. And we don't have phones on the set of Getting On. So that was about 8:45. And by the time thank you so much.
Oh, sweetie.
By the time I turned my phone on at maybe 3:30, it felt like it was on fire. It was just hot. So many texts and emails and well wishes and all sorts of things.
Well, we are all so happy for you.
Thank you.
You are so talented, and that is an Emmy-winning performance in the episode that we just saw. It really is. When you look at that episode, what do you see in it about the character of Nurse Dee Dee that really drew you to her, that made you want to play her?
Well, it's not even just that particular episode, but I was drawn to Nurse Dee Dee on the page. And I don't want to get ahead of the questions, but can I just talk a little bit about how I even got to that?
Yeah, we'd love to hear that. Absolutely.
Okay. How many people in the room are actors? All right, here we go. And I'm gonna say a lot of stuff. I'm gonna say it real fast. So you got to know when to take the meat and leave the bones. Whatever part is for you, take that, keep that. If it's not for you, just shoo it off to the side. Here we go. True story. When I said that I was going to, when I got ready, so my tear tissue, let me put that right there in case I need that again. When I got ready to go and audition for Getting On, I'm going to tell you one thing. I believe that you have to say the things that you want to manifest in your life. You keep saying them over and over, and eventually those things will manifest. The universe has no choice but to show up in the things that you confess. So I got the audition to go in for Getting On, and I immediately tried to go and look at the BBC version, because that's what we do as actors. We do our homework and our research. Well, as fate would have it, the computer that I was on would not let me click and see anything. So I said, I'm going in the blind. I did see a picture of one of the ladies, but nothing would play. Couldn't see video, couldn't see anything. So I said, well, she didn't have any makeup on. I was like, well, then let me take my makeup off. Is that how we supposed to look? But I just took a guess. I didn't know. But here's the confession of faith. I walked in the kitchen and said to my mother, hey, girl, I said, can you ride with me somewhere? She said, where you want to go? I said, I'm about to go get a job real quick. And I need you for the carpool lane. Now, come on for mamas who will do it in a pinch. But I will tell you to take one step back. When I first read the material, I was reading the material because my audition was for Dawn, which is the character Alex Borstein plays with the flip. That was my audition. I read everything they sent, and my eye kept going to this other character. I had to learn the words that she auditioned with too, but my eye kept going to this other thing. But now, here's the other thing. The quickest way for you to book a job in this industry, you didn't ask me this, but I'm throwing this part in there for free, is to give. Let me tell you what. I sat down, I read that script, and then I got on the phone and I called every girl I knew who I saw in my mind that could pull it off. Not just playing around, but people who I really thought like, oh, so-and-so could do that. So now while I'm making my phone calls, my daughter comes in. I'm in between. I'm looking up somebody's number, and she says to me, you know, it don't even make sense that you calling all these girls because somebody gonna get your job, and you should just go get your job and then don't worry about other people. And I said, little girl, sit down. Let me tell you something. That's the call on your life. You're supposed to be of service. I said, let me tell you what I know for sure, that if that is my job, it was my job before the foundation of the world. Nobody can get my blessing. So we're not worried about that. And even if it's not my blessing, then what? Look at that God will use me to give one of my friends a job. Look at that. So there's no failure. So knock it off. So that was her moment. That part is just, we just threw that in there. So I told my mama I was going to get a job. My mama got in the car. I got down there, I auditioned for the job. And then because so many of my friends got in, this one, we was praying with this one had broke up with her boyfriend, this one was crying. It was just like we never left. We stayed and fellowshipped and talked and laughed and cried. I go home, I get a call back for the same character to come back to play Dawn. I go to the callback, but mind you, I still keep my eye on this other girl. So when I go back and I say, I do the audition, they say, thank you. I say, excuse me, would anybody mind if I read for this other thing? And they said, absolutely, you cannot. We don't see you as that character.
Oh, wow.
I said, oh, well, all right. I said, well, the only reason I asked is because in episode 1, when she looked at the girl who came in there and did the thing after she had the sandwich and everybody was in the break room, ooh, the look on her face was everything. Ooh, and then remember the part where she comes in there and the thing, and I'm just going on and on and on about this character. And they said to me, well, if you love it that much, we guess you can. You want to come back on Friday? I said, no, sir, I do not. I'm here right now. And this is why I'm telling you about taking control of your auditions and being prepared. You see, because if I were not prepared, I could not have said, let's do it right now. He said, well, he wasn't prepared. He said, well, I don't even have the sides ready. I said, well, it's your lucky day because I ain't got nothing to do but wait. And I went out there and I sat down. And when I went to go sit down, I saw Lori Metcalf. And I said, oh, Lori freaking Metcalf. She's a genius. And I was looking at her like, oh, my God. And then I was able to go back in and read, and I was prepared for what I asked for. And when I got it, I didn't have to then be nervous because it showed up. So I was ready. I went in there and I did it. And then when I walked out, they said they knew before I made it to the parking lot. That's the girl.
Wow.
And that was how I ended up getting that part.
That is that's a great story. That's a great story. I want to ask a question that we received from an audience member. It's from Benjamin.
Sure.
And he wants to know, why do you think it's taken so long to be cast in the type of role which is so different from everything else you've done before?
That's a very good question. And the answer to that is because in this business, I think sometimes when you enter in a certain way, people say that's your lane. And they see you right there. That's the thing right there that you know how to do. Call Niecy Nash when you need more. More hair, more eyelashes, more boobs, more sass. Because she's going to give you more. It's bigger, it's broader, it's extra. You know what I'm saying? Do you still got the Reno 911 booty laying around? Where is that? There's always more. And so when I wanted to become an actor, what God stamped on the canvas of my imagination was what you see on Getting On. But you get in where you fit in, and I was, that particular lane of comedy was opened up to me first. And once I stepped in it, it took me a long time. I kept saying, can I go over there and do some of that? No, come on over here, dear. This is what you do.
Right.
And then God was kind enough to send 3 angels into my life, Will Schaefer, Mark Olson, and Miguel Ortega, who directed the pilot, to say, no, you can do something else. Mm-hmm. And then from that, Ava DuVernay saw me in it, and then she called me and said, you can do something else. Mm-hmm. And then from that, you know, from that and from that and from that. So it has been the gift that has kept on giving. However, it took a minute. And I'm telling you what, if you know that there is something you want to do, though the vision tarry, you wait for it. But you have to be prepared when it shows up in order to fully walk in that thing.
Okay. I want to go to another audience question now. We got a lot of them for Niecy. This is from Tina, and she asks, how do you get yourself in character to be funny if you just don't feel funny that day?
Well, let me tell you what. You fake it till you make it. That's the short answer. Because the thing that happens is, and I don't know if anybody has been present to this experience, when you get ready to do something that you feel like you have passion for or that you're called to do, all hell break loose. That's the way it's supposed to be, because that thing that shows up, whether it's a relationship, an issue, a money problem, my car broke, the dog ate my script, whatever it all is, you know, you have to have the stick-to-itiveness to press through. Now, when I first started in this business, I was married to my first husband, and every time I went to go and audition, I was doing very broad comedies, we had a fight. Now I'm crying all the way from the ghetto to Warner Brothers, huh? All the way. You know, that ugly cry. And I would get to that place, go in my makeup bag, put that face back together, and get out of that car, pull up, and go in there and do what I needed to do. You know what I mean? So it isn't magic. It is the will. Because on set anytime, you don't have the luxury. When you work in an office building, you can go in your cubicle, and you can be like, sure, he ain't gonna tell me no more. You can do all of that. But when somebody is knocking on your door saying, we're ready for you, you better pull up and you better find it. I went through my first divorce on camera. Baby, I used to be in that trailer wailing, why, God? And they would be like, we're ready for you. And I would be like, I'm Niecy Nash, and this is Clean House. You got to pull up.
Wow.
That's why they call it acting. You better act like you're not sad.
Well, what made you want to go into this acting life? What was it?
When I was 5 years old, I was watching the soap operas with my grandmother, and I saw the most beautiful black woman I had ever seen in my little 5 years of living. You know, I'd seen black people on TV, but they didn't look like that. She had this long red dress, her eyelashes looked like butterflies. I just was mesmerized. And I said, Grandmama, who is that? She said, baby, that's Lola Falana. I said, oh my gosh. You know, some of y'all young folk don't know who that is, but that's how I'm talking to this crowd right here. I'm right here with it. She was stunning. She was stunning. And I said, Grandmama, that's what I want to be. I want to be black and fabulous and on TV. And here's the thing about saying a thing, and what I told you in the beginning. I literally, at 5 years old, stopped answering to my name. If you didn't call me Lola, you didn't want me. Niecy, get in here. Niecy, girl, you hear me? Lola? Yes, ma'am. I already knew where I was going. I'm on this train right here, and I'm not getting off.
Well, you have definitely achieved the goal you set for yourself as a little girl.
Yes, ma'am.
That's amazing.
Yes.
We were talking earlier about what you've learned from other actors you've worked
Yes.
with. And you've worked with really famous people, and you guested for a while on the Bernie Mac show.
Yes, I
the
did.
wonderful Bernie Mac.
Yes.
God rest his soul. And you did learn an important lesson from him as far as being an actor, being a working actor. Tell us about that.
Yeah, let me say, can you believe? He had done so many things. This man, you know, he was a king of comedy. He had a very successful show. He was known everywhere. Couldn't walk into anywhere without people taking pictures and autographs. And when I booked the job as his sister, Auntie Benita, he came up to me. He said, congratulations, baby girl. He kissed me on the cheek. Then Bernie Mac, the Bernie Mac, leans back and looks me and my face, a green actor barely starting out in this business. He said, I got mine, baby girl. You get yours. Do you, and I'll follow. And what it taught me was that you have to be so giving and gracious as an actor. I've been on sets where sometimes even as a guest, the lead people don't even look you in the eyes until it's time for you standing right there like, hey, hi. They act like they're studying so much, they're doing so much, they're so important. And then, you know, and they, give you kind of like the cold shoulder and the shade of it all. And you're like, what is going on? But as powerful as he was, he told me, you do you. And I'm going to follow you because I already got what I need to get. And so it goes back to just really being of service. And I never forgot that.
That's beautiful. Yeah, it's beautiful, and you can see it on this show where you're in an ensemble. It's a primarily female ensemble. You do have Mel Rodriguez in there, but you're working with two other great female comedic actors.
And teamwork makes the dream work. I love those ladies.
So tell us a little bit about your rehearsal process on set, how you work together.
Well, initially, I will tell you this, HBO does not play games with you. When they said, we had to be nurses, I'm like, okay, this is so great. We're gonna play nurses. HBO was like, no, because you're serving the elderly, you need to go to hospice. You need to go to senior centers. They sent us to nursing homes. They made us go on rounds with nurses, and you have to stay on the whole shift. I felt like my feet was bleeding. I'm like, oh my God, what is happening? And then you have to go in and have these uncomfortable conversations, and they let us go. And I just stood in a corner. And, the people looking at you like, well, are you going to do something? I said, should I get the bedpan? You don't want me to do nothing? I'm just going to stand. I just stand right here. And I was so nervous to be in the rooms with the patients, but they really made us go into the deep in terms of the preparation. You know what I mean? And we had to have medical training, all sorts of things. It was like, I thought, then they said no glamorous hair, no glamorous makeup, and take off your spank. What happened?
Right. Well,
I said, I thought this was supposed to be a blessing.
Well,
yeah.
It was that tough for you because you're very glamorous. I mean, on Soul Man, you know, your character is incredibly glamorous. You're always in the heels and the great dresses and the makeup and the hair, and so
I love every minute of it.
Was it tough when you had to start working in, you know, flat squishy shoes and scrubs and no makeup?
Initially, yes, because you know, as actors, the first thing we do when we get to a set, you go to the hair and makeup place. And they make you look, and you wish, you like, oh my God, if I could have this lady in my life every day, what did they do to me? It's the fairy dust, and you standing underneath that lighting that Oprah used. Don't Oprah got some good light? It looked like angels is dancing on her face. You're like, what is going on? And so when you're used to being dolled up like that, and then you go over here, and not only do they take everything off, but they put you under the worst lighting God ever created and say, now go perform. And literally, when I first started the show, that was Monday through Friday. On Saturday and Sunday, I looked like a whore. I'm not gonna lie. I had makeup out to here, big shoes, little skirts. My husband was like, what are you doing? I said, trying to look like a girl. He's like, I'm gonna need you to take all that off and stop it. So it took me a minute to adjust.
Okay, so how fun is it going to be for you to choose your Emmy ceremony outfit? Has that process started yet?
You know, let me tell you what. Now, people say to you that when you get nominated for something, the phones are going to start ringing because everyone's going to want you to wear their gown. I'm like, is my phone on? Because... So, yeah, no, I don't even know. I haven't even gotten that far. I don't know what I'm going to wear. I have no idea.
It must be fun to think about it, though.
Well, it's fun to think about it, but, I mean, you want to kind of get it figured out. You know what I mean? And it's kind of like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So my daughter said, you know, this is the time where all you can do is stop eating and drink the tears of hungry women. Maybe then, if I lose a few lbs, somebody might call me and ask me if I want to wear a dress. I don't know.
Well, LA is full of the tears of hungry women, so you won't be dehydrated.
But I'm going to get a pizza and a cocktail when I leave here. I don't know where y'all are going, but that's where I'm going.
Well, let's talk about the age of the cast. You are in a show where it's mostly women, and it's mostly women of a certain age.
Don't you love it? Don't you love it? Well, let me tell you why I love it, because a lot of times when you have strong-willed women, in a lot of the shows, they're a lot younger. And if they're older, they're in cast with mostly men. You know what I mean? And it's only one. But there is a sisterhood that happens with these women because we are all of a certain age, and these roles are funny and complex and strong and all of these other things. And then, oh my goodness, the gift that Getting On has been to our seniors. Those women come in there. Let me tell you. Miss Birdie, who you just saw in this episode, who we thought it was a picture of her vulva. You know, one time they were trying to tell her she was talking too loud, and we were in the scene, and they were yelling from the monitors. Can you tell her she's talking too loud? I said, Miss Birdie, they want you to bring it down. You're talking too loud. Too loud, dear? I said, yeah. You're too loud. Oh, well, that comes from my days in vaudeville. You were in vaudeville? You know? I'm like, you got a captive audience in me now, girl. Details, you know? So it's been so lovely to have these women who come and just have these interesting stories. And, you know, some of them talk to you about their famous loves and, you know, their children and their journey in the industry, but they feel so validated that they can come in there at 60 and 70 and 80 and 90 years old and still be seen and featured. And, you know, and that's the part I love the most, because I'm like, can y'all just keep it going so I can come and lay down in one of these beds and know that I'm going to have a job? You know what I mean? But yeah, so that's wonderful.
And they have sex lives too.
How
That's something-
about it?
I love that.
Keep hope alive.
So, I mean, you have done a lot of improv. I mean, Reno 911 was an
Yeah.
improvised show.
Yeah.
So, is there any improvisation on getting on, or is it all pretty much sticking to the script?
Well, I'll tell you, there is a little wiggle room. We make sure we get what's on the page, and I will throw some things in there, but I learned very quickly who to and not to do that with in the scene. I will tell you that. Alex Borstein, if I give her something, she'll give it right back. Mel Rodriguez, if I give him something, he'll give it right back. Lori Metcalf, if I give her something, she says, "Dear, I didn't see that on the page." Sorry, Miss Lori. Sorry about that. You know, she's like, you know, she's such a professional. Mm-hmm. And, you know, and making sure she masters the words on the page. And she has a lot of big speeches. So when you take a left or a hard right, she's like, what just happened?
Right.
You know what I mean? So there is a little room in this episode when she says, and I don't even know, it came from your computer, Dee Dee. And I said, it wasn't even black. That was a make-me-up.
Oh, that was such a great line.
That was a make-me-up.
Oh.
I just threw it in, and I'm surprised. I didn't know they were going to keep it. But
oh, it was so funny. That was perfect.
like, how you accusing me?
Oh, that's great. That's great. There's also a lot of physical comedy in this show. Mm-hmm. Is that something you like doing? Does that get kind of crazy? I mean, the whole thing with the inserting the tube and everything, and was just...
You know, the majority of it really is not my character. You get to kind of see this world through Nurse Dee Dee's eyes. Mm-hmm. And so they have to be the crazy and the you know, over the top in order for me to, because I think sometimes if I joined in, the whole world would just be too much. Mm-hmm. So it is finding a balance when you're, you know, kind of a part of some of those scenes as opposed to, you know, not, but yeah.
She's infinitely patient, this character, it seems. She really
More patient than I am.
Well, I mean, that's another question I have for you. You've said before in interviews that you are a lot like your character on the TV Land show, on The Soul Man.
Yes.
But are you anything like Nurse Dee Dee? And do you think that's important as an actor to find those commonalities between your life and the character?
I think it's absolutely important. And the funny thing about getting on is that there are parts of us, the ladies, that are really like our characters. You know what I mean? Like, you know, Alex... you know, she's so funny. She's funny in real life too, but a very dry sense of humor, and she always has something going on. You know, Lori is, you know, she is that laser focus you have to have, and the discipline that she has reminds me of Jenna. But I'm literally the one when I'm not on as Dee Dee going to our guest cast, you know, saying, Miss Brown, you want some water? You need anything? She need to go to the bathroom because you know, so we live in those places.
You're taking care of people when they're on set.
Kind of, sort of. Yeah, you know what I mean? It just, I don't know. I guess that is my truth. And that is because I've been a mother a long time. So bringing a little bit of that into this particular character, I can see where the lines intersect.
So it comes from motherhood, from raising your kids. You're a caretaker. Uh-huh. I love that you come to the guest stars and you sort of make sure they're okay and help them out. That's just beautiful.
Somebody got to do it. Right.
Well, you have another role coming up. It's another Denise, interestingly enough.
Right.
On Scream Queens. Tell us. That's a pretty good scream. So you play security guard?
I do.
So tell us a little bit about this character and why you wanted to play her.
Well, I wanted to play her because Ryan Murphy called me.
Okay.
That's the
good
bottom
reason.
line. He said, "Hey, I got this role and I think you'd be great." And I said, "I'm in." Oh, wait, what is it? What's the role? I said yes before I knew what it was. But because it was Ryan freaking Murphy. Come on, guys. And he's brilliant. He's a genius. And then I found out Jamie Lee Curtis was in it, and I was obsessed with her. And it's so delicious. It's very campy. And I said, man, how are you going to make a comedy horror? I don't even know how this is going to work. I watched the first 2 episodes and had tears rolling out of my eyes. And so it's going to be great. And I don't know who's not in it. Everybody is in it.
That's true. Like Nick Jonas is
Nick
in it.
Jonas is in it. Ariana Grande's in it. Keke Palmer, Skylar Samuel, Emma Roberts. I mean, the list is as long as my arm.
And your shooting schedule has been pretty tight, hasn't it? I know that I heard that Getting On was on hiatus last week, and so you went to New Orleans to work on Scream Queens. So
right, no breaks.
Right, so no breaks.
Baby, when I get in that coffin, I'ma rest so good. You hear me? That dead rest is gonna be some good rest. Yes, and I don't know what happened. I didn't work this much in my 20s, and in my 30s, and then something happened. 40 got good.
Okay.
It got good, and then all kind of stuff started happening, and I don't know if that's because you know yourself better. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And you can bring something different to how you prep and what you do when you go into these performances. But it's been good right down through here.
So when you were younger and you weren't working as much, what were some of the day jobs that you had? Because I know a lot of actors have day jobs. And what do you think? Like, what was your approach to your day job? Do you get stuff from it as an actor, or do you think, oh, drudgery, it's my day job? Like, what?
Well, my plan A was to be an actor. My plan B was to make that plan A work. So
okay.
I never got in a situation that I couldn't get out of. Mm-hmm. You understand what I'm saying? Because I didn't want to get too comfortable. I worked in fast food for one day and I got fired. So I couldn't get comfortable there.
You got fired?
I got in an argument with a girl in the drive-thru. Don't ask.
Okay.
And then what did I do after that? Oh, and then I sold cosmetics, which really didn't feel like a job because I love being a girl. And then I got a job working at night so I could audition during the day. And I was answering phones for an airline's reservations, which I loved because I got to play on the phone all night, and I would do all these different characters. United Airlines, this is Carolyn speaking out. Just all kind of dumb stuff.
Oh, that's
and
fun.
I would play on the phone all night, so that didn't even really feel like a job, And then my ex-husband was like, okay, this is it. Like, you got to get a job. And I said, well, I've given you, at that time, 2 or 3 children, maybe 2 at that time. And I said to him, I've given my body over for 9 months to another being. Let me have it for 9 months for myself. I said, just to not have to go to a job, but just to focus on this, with a laser focus for 9 months. And if I don't make it crack in 9 months, I'll go back to work. I needed that pressure. Mm-hmm. He was like, you got 9 months. And in 9 months, I was able to go back to him and say, you can quit your job because I got you now. So I was like, on it. You know what I mean? And you can't be on TV by watching it all day. You have to make a job out of your pursuit for the job. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And that was an everyday thing. You guys got so many resources right outside this door, from making your reels to helping you, put all your stuff together and workshops and this, that, and the other. I got some people I know who, have never been here to take advantage of the resources that are available to them.
Wow.
But you have to do it, and you got to be on it like you own it.
So when you were...
Let the people clap. 'Cause see, what I say... Everything I say ain't for everybody. So somebody needed that little piece of meat. Go ahead. What you got? What's next?
When you were studying, when you were in college, because you majored in theater in college, who were some of your favorite playwrights? Who were your idols? What kind of roles did you love to play then?
You know what? One of my favorite roles was when I was in Fences. Has anybody seen Fences? Mm-hmm. That was one of my favorites. And the funny thing about that was that when I heard when you go audition and sometimes when the waiting area is too close to the door and you can hear what everybody else is doing and all the other roles characters went in and it was so small and I could hear them going, "What about my life? What about me?" And it just kept getting louder and louder as each girl went in. And I was like, man. And early on, I always said, find something to do in the audition that nobody else is going to do. Find a way to make it uniquely you. And I was still trying to figure out what I was going to do. But when I heard all them yelling, I was like, all I got to do is go in here and be quiet. And that's what I did. It was the first time I probably turned in a performance like Dee Dee, because that "What About My Life, What About Me" was brought down to this small.
Wow.
You know what I mean? And they were like, that's our roles.
That is great advice. Yeah,
Yeah.
find your special niche. Do it your way.
Find it.
Yeah, yeah. Do you ever work with a coach now? Do you ever what do you do to sort of polish? I mean, you're working so much. I don't know if you need to do that to sort of.
No, well, I think you can always grow. You can always find another. I mean, and I would love to. I don't have a lot of time right now to, but I'm not removed from it. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And when I got my first job in this business, very first one, I had went to a workshop. You know, you pay $30 and see the people, the casting people. And, you know, a lot of people think, is this a gimmick? The one I went to was real. And I booked 3 jobs out of that place. And it's changed ownership, so I don't know if it's good now, so I'm not going to shout it out. Tell me later. I'll tell you later. Just in case. I don't want you to be like, Niecy said. But it's still around. But anyway, when I booked that, I went and I did a workshop, and the guy was like, "You're so funny, you're so this, you're so that," but nothing came of it. And then I was in this horrible game of breakup to makeup with my first husband. So in one of my breakups, I was like, "I'm never coming back," and with this baby on my hip. And my mother was like, "Well, what you gonna do?" "I'm gonna act." I was like, So I called the guy up, and I said, "I don't know if you remember me." Hand to the God I serve. He said, "This is Niecy Nash." Now, I've always hated my voice because I sound like I need to drink a glass of lotion. But because it was good in the day, because he remembered me, right? Okay. So when he said, "This is Niecy Nash," I said, "Yes, it is. I'm broke, I got a baby, and I need a job." And I said, "You said I was talented. You might as well be responsible for my introduction into Hollywood and hook a sister up." These was my exact words. And he said, "Be down here at 3 o'clock. I put makeup on out to here, hair down to my address. I drove from 120th and Vermont, which if you watching at home, that is the hood, all the way to CBS Radford. And when I got down there, I didn't know any better. I went in, it was a producer session, 15 people in the room, including the director, and I had under 5 lines. And I went in there, and I read it. And the director said, "Have her read this one and this one." Both, like, one was like 1 line and one was like, 2 or 3 lines. So he says, "Okay, well, they're going to have you step out." The guy I called, "They're going to have you step out." And I said, "For just to read this?" I said, "Well, I could just read this. This is it? Just this and this?" "Well, no. You can step." I said, "Okay, well, stop pushing me. I don't need to step out." And he said, "Just let her." So I read the other 2 pieces. Boom, boom. The man said, "Thank you." I said, "You welcome." "Thank you." I say, "Don't mention it." He said, "Thank you, you may go." I said, "Oh, y'all are dismissing me." First professional audition. I said, "Well, did y'all pick me?" He said, "I'm sorry." I said, "No, did y'all pick me?" He said, "Dear, it's over and it's time for you." I said, "Well, no, I get that. But I'm just trying to find out if y'all picked me because I got a baby at home." "Did you tell him that I got a baby at home?" Hey, this is a true story. He said, "Ma'am, I'm sorry, dear, you need to leave. I said, I'm going to leave. But let me tell you what, this ain't right. Okay, you have people drive from all the way over town to come over here, and then you ain't gonna tell nobody if they got a job. I said, so let me tell you what my mama told me. My mama said everybody got a boss. So I'm telling on you, I'm telling on you, I'm telling on you, and I'm telling on you. And the director, now the casting director is bright red, like, oh my God, I'm gonna get fired. And the director pulls him down, he leans down and he goes, she's adorable, where did you find her? And even in that, I said, oh, don't try to get on my good side now. I didn't know any better, and I left, and I was fussing the whole way through. And I had no idea, and about maybe 4 or 5 days later, they called and said, would you like to come and be a part of this production? It's in New York. We need you there in the morning. And oh, by the way, it's snowing, so bring some thermals. And that was how I got my SAG card. That was how I got into this space. You know what I mean? But it was just so crazy. And I'm telling you that, use that as an example of what not to do. Okay? Learn your craft and be prepared. It was just, you know what I mean? God was smiling. He was just like, poor thing, look at her. She don't know no better. And he gave me a pass because he saw my heart. My heart was in the right place. But that was the beginning.
Well, the beginning has led to an amazing, amazing place. We do need to wrap up tonight. Thank you so much, Niecy Nash. God,
you're welcome.
Amazing.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Thank you, everybody.